Hi guys, welcome back again to Happily Ever After Schnauzers. My name is Meghan Rodgers, and today I'm going to talk about how to not be scammed when purchasing your puppy. In today's society, we do a lot of online purchasing and looking for dogs all over the country. So there's always a lot of questions about how to know whether or not people are legitimate. We've had a lot of issues lately in the Schnauzer community with people taking pictures from other breeders and from puppies to adults and things like that. And we recently had one of our potential puppy parents contact us to let us know that they had talked to us about a puppy, and we had sent them pictures of the parents, and then we had told them what we were expecting, and then they were still searching and talking to other people, and had talked to another family, another breeder about a puppy that they had supposedly, and sent them the pictures of the same male that we had sent, Bandit. And so they were a little bit not sure what was going on. So we went on to explain, as we had told them before, that he was a stud that we used from Schnauzer Candy Babies in Georgia, and that they did in fact own the dog, and we actually still have the dog on premises and could absolutely do whatever we needed to prove that we actually had the dog. And then we went on to research further and found out that they had actually stolen a breeder in Oklahoma's name and passed it off like they were them, and had taken pictures of their puppies and all kinds of things. So with all of that going on today, how do you know? How can you protect yourself when you are looking at purchasing a puppy? And so that's what I want to talk about today. So one of the first things that you should be doing is speaking with the breeder on the phone. I don't know any breeder who won't speak with people on the phone. That would be ridiculous. I prefer to talk to all of my families. That lets them get to know me and lets me get to know them. So when you talk to a breeder on the phone, some of the things that you want to be looking for is how knowledgeable are they about their breed. I could talk about Schnauzers all day long. I absolutely adore the breed and am constantly learning everything I possibly can about the breed. And so you should have your breeder that you're talking to be able to talk to you about anything you could possibly want to know about the breed. The other thing is that you want to have them also be asking you questions. So this should definitely be a two-way conversation. So they should be asking you about your lifestyle. They should be asking you where you live, the style that you live in, why you're interested in this breed. Have you owned this breed before? Are you aware of the negatives? There are negatives with every breed. Schnauzers bark. So if you are not looking to want to deal with that, that would not be a good breed for you. And that's something that I want to find out if people know about. Also, with Schnauzers, you are wanting to make sure that they're aware that it is a breed that is very intelligent and headstrong. And so they need a lot of basic training. So if you are going to be prepared to do the basic training that is needed. The other thing that you want to be looking for is how many breeds do they breed? It's not a bad thing to breed more than one breed. Typically, the breeds complement each other. I know several breeders who breed maybe 3 different breeds. But anything more than that, there's no way that you can really be as knowledgeable about your breed if you're doing tons of different breeds. It's also a sign of a puppy mill. You don't want to see somebody who does Schnauzers and Yorkies and Chihuahuas and Maltese and Poodles. That should be a huge red flag. There's just no way you can do that well. The next thing that you can look at for your talking to breeders is asking for references. So any breeder should have references of people that have purchased puppies from them. As a matter of fact, on Facebook is a good place to look at reviews because you can actually click on that person's profile and make sure it's a real profile. And you could actually ask them questions like, did you leave this review? Do you still feel that way? Have you had any contact with the breeder since then? And things like that. You want to see that the breeders are keeping up with their puppies as much as possible. Also, vet references. Vet references are a huge thing. All breeders have vets if they are doing it ethically, and they should be willing to give you a vet reference. If they don't, I would take that as a huge red flag and find someone else. But as for us, for instance, on our website, we have our vet listed with his phone number. They have agreed to give references for us whenever we need it. They are our vet for all of our dogs and do all of our prenatal care. We're well versed with all of the staff. They all know us because they're who do all of our veterinary care. So we see them quite often. And so you want to be able to ask for a vet reference. That should be a non-negotiable for you. You should be requiring that of your breeder. There should be no reason why they can't give that. And you couldn't talk to the vet and find out that, the vet definitely feels like they are a good ethical breeder. The other thing that you can do is you can ask around. So, for instance, on Facebook, there are lots of breed groups that you can be in and that you can ask what people are having to say about these breeders. That is one of those things where you're going to get pros and cons. Not everybody likes each other, but there are times I don't have puppies available. And so people want a puppy and they want a puppy in the near future. And maybe what they're looking for isn't something I'm going to have until maybe next year because, I don't have puppies that often to be able to be providing everybody that wants a schnauzer. And so I have several other breeders that I would absolutely recommend. And they recommend me and things like that. They have programs that are really similar to mine. I've purchased puppies from them, and I've worked with them, collaborated with them, such as Schnauzer Candy Babies by using their male as a stud. They're going to use our male as a stud. And that's not uncommon in this industry. And so you would be able to find and ask around about a breeder and about their reputation, and take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. But definitely, it's not that big of a world in the breeding world if you start really looking into it. So that goes on to the next thing that you should be doing is, of course, pictures, because pictures are how it's done. If it's at all possible to see the puppy in person, that of course would be great. But in today's world, the puppy that I had that went home yesterday went to Vermont. So obviously that family was not going to be able to come and see their puppy until it was time to take their puppy home. So how do you deal with that? How do you know that that's real? And that's probably the biggest place that people struggle with scammers. So let's dive in. Number one, people should have multiple different pictures of the same puppy and can give you more pictures of any puppy that you would be interested in. You should also want to see different angles and things of the puppy so that you can see all around the puppy, make sure the puppy looks healthy, everything looks great. Then you really want to see a picture of the puppy with its mom. Moms are not obviously super pretty right after they have their puppies because they have to be shaved down. They're not going to have these huge glorious skirts and things like that, but moms should look healthy. Moms should look well fed and relaxed and things like that. And one of the signs of a puppy mill is if they will not show you a picture of mom because mom looks awful or where she lives is awful or whatever. And so that kind of goes into one of the ways that I like to encourage people to do business with me is through Facebook video chat or FaceTime. So if you're talking to somebody on Facebook, they should have a regular profile that you can look at and say, okay, that's a real person. They have a real life, and that kind of thing. And through that page, through their personal page, you can do a Facebook video chat. And through Facebook video chat, you should be able to see where the dog is living. So that goes into the controversial issue of whether people are allowed on premises or not. So some of the reasons that some of the breeders that I know are absolutely fabulous, but would never let you in their home is because of a couple of reasons. One, they're concerned about things like the dog flu or parvo or you bringing parasites into their home. Another reason would be because they maybe live on their own and they don't feel comfortable having people they don't know in their home. Another reason might be because, unfortunately, there have been people that have come under the guise of saying that they want to purchase a puppy, and then they have knocked the breeder out and stole the puppies. So those things have made it that people can be nervous about having people in their home. So that's not always an absolute red flag, but if they won't let you in their home, they should definitely be willing to do some type of video chat so that you can see where the dog lives, how the dog lives, how the puppies live. You can tell a lot about a person with their dogs and their dog's reaction. The dog should be happy to see the breeder. The dog should be happy, go lucky, and relaxed. Like I said, mom should be relaxed. And not stressed out. And moms should look well fed and clean. That would be the number one thing. You want to see clean. You want to see her have fresh, clean water and food and things like that. That shows that the dog is well cared for. And also, a video chat does not allow you to lie, to say that they don't actually have that puppy. You can't fake that. So that is a great way to do that. If for some reason you can't do that, I would steer clear. But if you are really set on that puppy, another way that you can do it is have them take pictures of the puppy with a specific object. So everybody owns spoons, but that's not a typical puppy background. So ask to see the puppy with a spoon. Ask to see a puppy with today's paper, a remote control, anything like that. Think up of a random object and ask them to take a picture with the object. As breeders, we're used to people being concerned about being scammed. So a decent breeder is not going to be like, you want me to do what? So that would be a good way to know that that puppy really is there and they really have that puppy. So one of the other things is when you're contacting them and talking to them, I'm not saying that all puppies bought internationally are scams. They're not. There are lots of people that do that have bought dogs from overseas, and it's been a great experience. But it definitely should be a little bit more research to make sure that it is a legitimate breeder, that it is a good breeder, and that it is real. But watch for broken English. Also, when you're looking at people's websites, as we talked about, those people stole an Oklahoma breeder's information and a lot of her stuff and her name and things like that. But when you're looking through people's websites, you should be checking for weird errors, or maybe somebody copy and pasted and it doesn't go together right. Really read through their information. I know for us, I have spent literally over 30 hours on my website, putting out information, going back over it, updating it, putting up new pictures. I'm constantly working on it, and I'm really proud of it. And it has a ton of information on there. And you should feel really comfortable when you go to a breeder's website and you go through their website, and you can tell if they actually typed everything out or if it's just complete crap and they stole a bunch of stuff from people and nothing kind of goes together. Also looking at their pictures. So all of our pictures that we put out when we're sending pictures of parents and things like that have watermarks on them, unless they're pictures that we took right in that moment for a person at their request. So look to see if people have watermarks and make sure the watermarks match. All of mine say happily ever after. So if you see one on someone and it's two different names, unless they used a stud, that's not right. That should be a red flag. Also, blurry areas on the pictures, because some people are trying to remove breeders' watermarks. So that should be a red flag too if you see this blurry image. Also, as far as money goes, what everybody requires for a deposit is different. Some people require half up front. Some people have a specific dollar amount. Some people have that a certain amount has to be paid at this point and then more money at a different point. But you should know what that is up front, so that there's not a misunderstanding. For us, we require that you have reviewed our contract, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but you have to go over our contract and be willing to sign that, because obviously you can't take the puppy without the contract. So before you give me any money, you have to be okay with that. So find out exactly what their process is. And also there's usually multiple ways that people are willing to take payment. Some people feel more comfortable sending a check, and for a deposit, I don't have a problem with that because money has time to clear and all of that long before the puppy would go home. But some people really feel more comfortable using credit cards because of that reason, and some breeders take them and some breeders don't. Just because they don't take a payment by credit card does not mean that they are a scam. A lot of people use Zelle, Venmo, things like that. But I don't know any breeder that really uses Western Union or MoneyGram. That's not one I use. And so that should be a pretty big red flag to you. Also, when you're looking at classifieds to find puppies, definitely be a little bit more due diligent when you're looking at dogs off of Craigslist or some of the free classified sites, because if it's not costing them any money, they could just be trying to scam you. But definitely just do your due diligence. Find out what their name is, find out where their Facebook profile is. You don't have to friend request them, but you can tell if somebody has a real profile or not. Even if you don't live in that area. We also don't take PayPal. I meant to mention that. PayPal has a ban on animal sales for that, and that is why we do not use PayPal. There are still some breeders that do and are happy with it. So as I said in the beginning, find out how all they take payment, how their payments work. With that being said, payment plans are not anything a single breeder I know does. I do allow people to have me hold the puppy up until the puppy is 10 weeks old, and they cannot pick up the puppy until the puppy is paid in full. Again, I don't know any breeder who lets people do payment plans and they can go ahead and pick up the puppy. Let's say they've made 1 or 2 payments and then you get the puppy and then you can finish making your payments. Then they'll ship you the puppy or something. I've seen that type of scam, and people get excited because they think, oh, I could afford this really expensive dog if I can just make payments, and they'll let me have the puppy before the payments are finished being made. Yeah, probably you're just going to make 1 or 2 payments and then they're going to disappear and you're never going to get that dog, because no breeder lets anybody have a puppy until it's paid in full. So huge red flag for that. Also, most breeders have contracts, and all breeders should have a guarantee, at least up to a year. So find out what their contract is, find out how they do things. Read over the contract. They should be able to give you a copy prior to you having to sign it. Hence, as I said, we have ours online so it can be reviewed, and we do not accept a deposit until after the contract has been reviewed and been okay. You don't have to sign anything, but you do have to be okay with the contract and be aware of what all it says. You really want a breeder that's going to stand behind what they breed. We put a lot of time, effort, money, blood, sweat, and tears into researching and trying to provide the best puppies that we can. So I stand behind that, and I will take the puppy back no matter what age, at any time. In fact, as a matter of fact, we require that the puppy is returned to us if for some reason it doesn't work out. We also have a health guarantee. We have things about if the puppy was found to be neglected or abused, that we can repossess the puppy and no money's given back. All of these things are showing that a breeder cares about their puppies and about what they're doing. And so these are things that you want to look for in a breeder. You want to look for somebody who really is passionate. Let me see if there was anything else that I wanted to cover. I'm looking at my notes, I'm sorry. With things that people should look for. Oh, that was the other thing. Additional charges and fees. As I said, you should understand what everything is going to cost upfront. What is the deposit? How are the payments made? How is payment accepted? When is payment due? And what all fees? So for us, our veterinary care is included in the cost of the puppy. So the puppy's first shot, all veterinary care and exams, fecals, worming medication, all of that is included. That's part of what you're paying for when you pay for the puppy. Things that are not included would be such as when we travel to Pennsylvania to deliver puppies on a regular basis, there's a $75 travel fee that covers that. That is set up front and is not a surprise to anyone we don't hit people with it later. As well as if a puppy is going to fly, there is a charge for the health certificate. I provide the vet bill that shows what that charge was, and you're literally just reimbursing that fee. I don't charge extra to take the puppy or things like that. These are things that you want to make sure. There is cost for the airline to fly the dog. There is costs for pet nanny. There is a cost for the crate and the health certificate. Those are all normal fees, but you should also know what those are before you commit to having the puppy, and the breeder should be well versed in what those are. So if people ask me what it costs to do a flight nanny, I have to contact the flight nanny and find out what they charge from going from me to them, because they set their own rate. And those fees do need to be paid upfront before the puppy flies, but you should already be in contact with the pet nanny. You should also be in contact with the airline, verify all these things. So just make sure that you are an informed consumer. But things like, I was looking up, because it's not even something I'm even that familiar with, pet insurance. People try to charge people for pet insurance for when they're flying. That's not necessary, nor is that something that you need to purchase. That would be a red flag. If you want to purchase pet insurance, that's great. And I can definitely give you recommendations on that and things to look at, when it would be a good idea, when it would not. But that is not a requirement to fly. So I hope that this will definitely help you feel like when you're looking at purchasing a puppy, that you feel like you know what to ask and what to look for. As always, please feel free to message me and ask any questions or clarifications or things that I have not covered. I did a lot of research for a couple of days on different types of scams and some ways to protect yourself. So I hope that it's been a well-informed video for you. But if there's anything I've left out or things that you think that I should have included, please definitely comment below and let me know. Please like our page and follow us on Facebook so that you get updates when we go live and different videos that we do and information that we give out. We're always trying to educate the public and let people know what's going on in this world of dogdom and how you can be a better informed consumer and a better pet owner. And also for people that are breeders, some things that they can learn. And as always, I love to learn from other people. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and I hope that this video was helpful, and I look forward to meeting with you guys again soon.